Number of
Wow, look
Byron
at this.
Lazine Grinch meltdowns in 2026.
I've
Over
never
under
had one of those.
1.5, Lisa. What do you think? Are you taking the over or are you taking the
Oh
under?
God, it's so easy. That's freaking over.
If you're not getting educated about local and national real estate market conditions, the predictions from the experts that are out there, and all the industry trends that are happening, you're doing yourself and your client base a disservice. This is the Knowledge Brokers podcast. I'm Tom Toole, here with Lisa Chinatti and Byron Lazine. I made a point to introduce Lisa first this week because she was feeling a little rough about what's been going on the show lately. So I hope you noticed that. And this is one of my favorite shows.
What are you wearing? I can't see it. Is it reindeer?
They're reindeer glasses because I'm in the holiday spirit, unlike our friend Byron over here, who's got a cold, small heart, just like the Grinch. We're going to talk more about that later. So we got predictions here. And what I love about this show is that all cards are on the table. Some of us were right, some were wrong, and we're actually going to go back and say, hey, we were right or wrong, and take some accountability, unlike most of the people out there putting out content. So I know Logan Mohtashami's got like a big debate coming up with a bunch of bullshitters that are out there, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Go
ahead.
I mean, if anybody's following that Instagram drama, I mean, obviously Bam was tagged multiple times, and I was tagged to be a moderator, which I'm happy to do. I have talked to Colton, who the agent who's putting out some of this kind of like
clickbait.
I'd call it doomer content. He would disagree with that, obviously.
It's what Logan says. Yeah,
and I have DM'd with him. So it looks like we're trying to set that up for the first week of January. Originally, I thought he was going to kind of try to skate out of this, but Logan's in, Colton's in. I think it's going to happen. I'm happy to moderate that. And to be clear on our predictions, like bringing up Logan Mohtashami, this is a fun show. This is like one of the more fun shows of the year.
Yes.
I really enjoy this show. These are just our gut feelings. We're not producing a model like Logan. We're not trying to say, hey, we're putting in the type of work that a Logan Mohtashami or a Danielle Hale is doing when they come out with their models and their projections. This is us taking, our gut feel and kind of what we think, and sometimes even maybe what we hope might happen.
Lisa, what do you want to add?
Oh, who cares? Let's keep going.
Exactly. My opinion is moot here. So
not true. Your opinion always matters. Down here in Philadelphia, Lisa.
That was so good, Byron.
Oh, God.
These comments are going to be insane. Oh, this is
so we're recapping 2025. We're going to pick a winner between the three of us. Lisa says she won last year. I kind of still believe that I won, but the comments thought she won. So we're going to pick a winner.
I definitely did not win. There's no debate about that. My predictions were horrible. So we'll see what happens this year.
We're going to pick a winner for this year, this 2025, based on our predictions that we made the end of 24. And then we're going to make our 2026 predictions. So let's get into it, Tom. What are we, how do we do this year?
I'm having trouble seeing the screen. It looks like we're looking at home prices first. So the average forecast, the line we set. So if you don't know how betting lines work, there's a number and we went over or under based on the predictions. We're going to be using, we'll talk about what we're using this year. So for 2025 home price appreciation, the average forecast was 2.7% for home prices. Byron went with the under. Lisa and I went with the over. And to me, it's very easy to see who won here. Because if you look at Realtor.com's and Danielle Hale's article she put together, it was 2% was the median home price appreciation. So that's a Byron +1. I think it's pretty clear.
So the average forecast that you're seeing at 2.7 was what we used based on the projections at the time at the end of 24 as the over-under metric when we set these predictions a year ago. That's just how we, and we'll show you how we came up with the numbers here, obviously this year, like Tom mentioned. But yes, that is what is 1-0 for Byron, 0-1 for Lisa, 0-1 for Tom.
Are we going to recap the score every time? Because this is going to be a long show.
No, we don't have to, but I did want to start off hot and feeling good.
That's clear.
Great. Yep.
Great, Lisa. All right, next one here. Let's keep going. Mortgage rate, 6.34% over under. we all went with overs last year, and the average, even though we're at about 6.3% now, was 6.6% for the year. So that's a win across the board.
Yep.
Led by Lisa Chinatti. So Lisa
Absolutely.
is 1-1. Byron's 2-0.
No,
I'm
Lisa's
also
over is not any better than my over. I mean, it's just
I don't know. I
we
thought
all
it
got
was a
one
little.
there.
It meant a little more to me, Byron. It had some sentimental value, so we're gonna go with that. All right, the next one here. Let's keep this going. Home sales average forecast, and we've had that number at 4.25 million. We all went for the over, and we all got our ass kicked on that one because it was
Sure did.
4.07 million according to Realtor.com. This is the most disappointing loss I see here because,
Yeah.
and I was just hoping for more transactions. I mean, that's kind of what I hoped would have happened, and it was a little light.
I think we were all leading with our hearts there. Because if you think about it, we all went over on the average on mortgage rates.
That doesn't make sense.
If we were
I agree
using
with
our
you.
brains and not our hearts, we should have went under on home sales. If we were saying over on the average rate, we
Not
didn't
necessarily, but I
mean,
see what you're saying.
Well, I'm saying we didn't believe the rate was going to come in at the average. We all thought it was going to go over, which would have subdued sales, but we all wanted more sales, so we said over. I don't know.
Maybe
Well,
not.
I mean, it also, I mean, if rates would have hovered around 6.34 or even under 6.5, I think that number could have jumped up a little bit based on that keeping current matters chart that has the green to red. So we were right on the edge all year. I mean, I think it could have gone either way at some point. So that's where we are. Last one here. This one, we 1.5 million number of real estate agents. This was NAR membership. That's the only way we can really track this. We all picked over, and NAR membership's in the mid 1.4 range right now. So that's another L across the board. What do you think happened here? I mean, I was a little surprised by this one. And now, NAR is talking about they're going to lose even more members. I mean, what do you think happened here, Lisa?
Well, so I think that there's a difference between realtors and real estate agents is what I'll say. So I
agree with that.
I actually don't know that. Did we actually specify that it was going to be? So I'm going to say actually
I think we were going NAR number is.
It's the only trackable number.
We're going to go NAR number on this, and that's what we were discussing here. I think the way it's written on our chart is just what
it's
it is.
Deceptive.
Yeah, and
Do you think a lot of people dropped out of NAR after the lawsuit? I mean, there's people that have. I mean, especially there's a couple states and MLSs that are. I mean, ours isn't one of them, by the way. But you got New Hampshire and Mass, Lisa. You're in an interesting spot. There's the Northwest MLS. Do you think that might have contributed to this number declining?
I don't think so. I think it's just been a hard couple of years.
I think I think Lisa alluding to agents getting out of the business for sure. And then you've had big companies like Redfin and others say, hey, you don't have to be a part of NAR. So there's a combination of the two, I think.
All right.
And NAR is already projecting, we'll get into it on our projections, but they're projecting a deep cut from here on their numbers. So.
Okay. All right. So that's all. Those are all the clear winners. Now this is where there's going to be a little bit of a debate, I would imagine, and maybe some, dare I say, fake news that could be happening.
I mean, I got annihilated on the best real estate stock to own. Real Brokerage was not a good stock to own. I own it. It was terrible. Now at the time when I made the projection, Sharon was the day-to-day president of Real. He was on absolute fire. He was on a tear. It was a lot of good and still is a lot of good technology coming out. And, that exponential growth has not been near the same level as when Sharon was running day to day at Real. And, a lot of real estate stocks haven't done well. I've sold some of my real stock at moments this year when it's kind of tipped up. I bought a lot of it very early on, but this was a pathetic stock in my portfolio this year. So, I mean, it just was. I mean, when I look at how well a lot of my other stocks did, this one, it was just an absolute pathetic performer.
All right. So that was, Byron didn't do well there.
No,
Lisa went with Zillow, which was down $6.69 or 8.96%. last year. And I went with D.R. Horton. This was up 7.54%. So this is a +1
So
for the little guy here.
yeah, just based on numbers, Zillow
Medium
right
guy.
now, taping the show, year to date is down 7%. And a lot of that has come within the last like few days here with that Google news. With the Google basically showing
Well, and it would have been flat if it was a couple weeks ago, because if you look at
in
a year
September,
ago,
I was riding high.
in September, Lisa was right. $90 stock.
Yeah.
I sold out. Because I've been buying and selling Zillow all year. I sold some in September, and so she would have been doing very well in September. It was basically from 70, low $70, kind of back to where it is now. And then up in the 90s, but it didn't hold that momentum, obviously. So Zillow was down 7% year to date. Real was down 14% year to date. And in a year where a lot of stocks really, I don't know, I guess a lot of stocks I'm investing in really performed very well. That's a disappointing number to move down 15%, 14% year to date. And then D.R. Horton did year to date
9.93%.
I've got it. Yeah,
7%.
7%.
$9
Yeah.
Up $9.39, up 6.82%.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it depends on the read. Yeah. I'm looking at it now.
So
either way, that's a winner.
Yeah. I mean, there's real estate stocks that outperformed, but like out of the three options that we gave, we can give Tom the win there. I mean, obviously there were stocks that outperformed D.R. Horton. I mean, if you look at Compass, it went up 82% this year to date.
Yeah.
So, D.R. Horton's not the best real estate stock to own, but out of the three, what do we want to give Tom, a half a point there? Or do you want to give him
we get the full point.
It's either a 1 or a 0. What kind of world are you living in here? You giving me a
He lives in
participation
his own.
trophy after this?
Exactly. He's trying to.
So I think
say
we
he's
give him a
gonna
0
win.
then, right?
No, we give him a 1. He had the best pick out of the three of us.
Okay. All right. Tom gets a 1. Wow.
There
You
we
went
go.
up 6%. I hope you put your life savings into
It's
that.
better than a negative, Byron.
Yeah, yours was down what, like 14%?
I came in. I brought up the rear on that one.
No. Point. All right.
Yeah.
No.
You're right. No, Tom has 2 points.
I have
That's his
2.
point.
Yeah.
No,
Byron
he had
has
the
2,
point-
and Lisa
He had
has
the
1.
point on the rates. We all got a point on the rates. I had 2. Oh, Lisa got 2 from what?
No, I have
Lisa has 1.
Yeah, Lisa has 1. Okay, so I misheard it. Me and Tom are tied with 2. Lisa has 1.
Yes,
All right.
exactly.
Now this one gets interesting. So we got biggest winners for companies. So Byron went with Follow Up Boss. Lisa picked Realtor.com. And I went with ProLogic. So Lisa, why don't you explain this one here? Give us your assessment.
Well, so I think Byron clearly loses. I don't think that's even a question here. I mean, Realtor.com made a lot of really strategic moves over the past 24 months. I think that they've, what's fitting? Our friend Damien says that Realtor.com's initiative is to become number 1, and they're tracking all of the categories in which they're becoming number 1. I am going to say I'm taking a W on this one, boys. Unless you've got a reason for why your company is better than Realtor.com, Tom, I would love to hear it. But
I mean, what's ProLogic's
ProLogis. Sorry, we're saying
ProLogis growth this year? They're up 22% year to date on their stock.
Well, but we're not talking about stock.
I know we're not talking about stock, but this is going to be one of those semantic arguments between Realtor.com and ProLogis, and Realtor.com is obviously wrapped into News Corp, so you can't kind of go. You're not going to be able to know exactly how Realtor.com performed.
But I mean, we'll look at like Danielle Hale nailed the predictions. I think Realtor.com has become the number 1 quoted source for real estate news across most news sources, partly because of the News Corp affiliation. Yeah. I think that they're doing a lot and making some waves.
And their partners love working with them, trust them, adore the relationships in that company across the board. It's not like just a couple partners, like people, big brokerages and big teams that work with Realtor.com and agents appreciate that partnership so much. So that factors in. I mean, I'm happy, I'd love to give Lisa the point.
So the thought behind Prologis was they're doing a lot of work with Amazon, FedEx, warehouses, distribution centers, and we're seeing a lot of defunct properties. And I'm talking about like malls are an example. We have many vacant malls around here. We have an Air Force base that's just getting repurposed. So the fact that they're able to take these big pieces of land and make them functional, and you're even seeing some like housing get mixed in there, I think that could create a win for these sort of companies. And it brings a lot of jobs to the area when they're bringing in these kind of companies and warehouses. So that was my thought behind Prologis. I like the idea of giving us both a point because neither of these companies were losers, unlike your choice, Byron.
Well, of course, you like the idea of it. Lisa, how do you feel about giving Tom a point?
I'll give Tom a point. It's interesting when we get to our predictions for next year. Prologis is my stock pick for exactly the reasons that Tom mentioned. So I can't disagree with him. It is a solid company and falls into it. So point.
Okay. So Tom and Lisa both getting a.
So I've got 3,
there.
And Byron and Lisa each have 2.
Yeah, that's how that works. All right, let's go to biggest winner individual.
Okay, now this one's not going to so the biggest winner individual, we all picked Sharon Travaza, and we had Byron had a runner-up of Robert Refkin. I also talked about dominant listing agents. To me, Sharon won great because he's got this incredible gig right now, and I think he came out smelling like a rose now he's no longer president at Real. I think it's a big win for Sharon. Plus, he's on the BAM board, Byron. I mean, that's got to make him a winner.
I mean, he wins every single year. He was obviously, he moves over to acquisition and they break a Guinness Book of World Records on a book launch, beating every single president's book. Like Prince Harry's book, #1 on book launch sales. And Sharon was a big part of that, obviously. So he's obviously an individual winner. Now, my runner-up pick of Robert Refkin, Compass CEO, clearly an enormous winner this year. Stock is up over 80%, has captured a big fish that he's been looking to do. I'd offer, though, looking back on 25, how things kind of shaped up with Sharon leaving day-to-day at Real and being able to see what Leo Pereira did at EXP. I mean, he stacked up a lot of wins this year. He's kind of that mold of a Sharon where he's been at the ground level. He was a big team leader at his time at Keller Williams. EXP as a company has some issues in the background, but he wasn't a part of those. He wasn't there when those issues took place. He's really, to me, turned that culture back to having a lot of momentum. They have, so many of the biggest teams across the country. He leads really by being out there every single day doing the work. And because Sharon's kind of out, gave him a lot of the spotlight there. So he's obviously, I think, just somebody to mention. He wasn't on our list as projected, but I thought he was a huge winner in 25. I don't know, because I had the runner-up of Robert Refkin. I think that puts me closer to.
If we can all pick multiple people, then we'll all win.
Yeah, I didn't pick a second.
Okay, so
isn't
we
the
all
category individual. It's not two individuals. It's one.
We all either get a point or no point, which is the same thing there because we all had the same pick.
It's a wash.
All right, biggest losers.
I should get a half point for Refkin, but
no, you shouldn't. You get one pick, right? You get one vote, Byron. It's not what are you, gerrymandering here or stuff in the ballot box? I mean, what's going on?
Typical Byron.
So, yes. Biggest losers for companies. Byron went with Redfin. I selected Homes.com, and Lisa selected Open Door. So let's hear everyone's case. Let's start with Byron.
Well, there's
a lot of losing in this group here, by the way.
I'll basically I'll take Lisa off the table immediately because Open Door she was going to be right. They were about to get delisted. And then they got that retail push and saved the company, that retail push. And so.
That actually would have been a good stock to buy when you look at what happened with that stock. Can you imagine?
If you hit it at, they're about to get delisted, it's kind of risky stock, but then the retail crowd kind of push it up. So I think you got to take Lisa off the table. Now, between Redfin and Homes, there's certainly an argument to be made that Redfin, was really never profitable, getting an exit, a merger into Rocket Companies, you can check that off as a win. But based on Glenn Kelman's ambitions and how he was going to change everything in the world of real estate, he really got smacked in the face on his legacy. He didn't deliver a win. This is nothing more than distribution and traffic for Rocket Companies now. And on their grandiose mission, they are a failure. They got an increase on their stock price by doing the merger with Rocket. So for shareholders, a little bit of a win. But really, like I said in the past, shareholders really came out of this like even over time. They really didn't do that well. So homes.com, I don't know. I really don't know how you can rank them right now.
I think it's TBD, unfortunately. And they've taken, I would call it a $1 billion whiff with their advertising campaign, because we've all been in these pitch meetings with them over the past year where they want to sell leads. They want us to, invest in it. One, it's expensive. Two, we've talked to a lot of team leaders that don't see any data to invest in them. And, we run, we were all at the Thrive event. We were all invited to Zillow Unlock. Fortunately, Lisa and I did not go. And that's a whole other story. And we know what lead arbitrage looks like, and no one's buying what they're selling right now. So I think there are people buying it, not sophisticated people that have success with portals and conversion. So it is TBD, but they're spending an awful lot of money.
Lisa, where would you go with this between Redfin and Homes if you were picking one?
I don't know that any of us get a point, if you want my honest opinion. I actually put Redfin as my pick for the biggest loser for next year, because I don't think that the impact has hit yet. I agree with what you're saying, Byron, but I think that we're going to see the impact next year, not this year. And Homes, their $1 million risk was in 2024. Their what?
Billion.
That's what I said.
Million.
Yeah, they haven't made the impact that they really focus on impressions. Homes has not made the impact.
But they haven't shit the bed either. Like that's the kicker.
Well, they're not going to. That's the point.
Right.
CoStar's not going
they're almost
anywhere.
too big to fail, right? I think that's it. They have enough money to lose here. So I don't think either one of us get a point. I tend to agree with Lisa.
None of us get points on this one. I think they're all kind of.
I think Lisa should get a negative point, but.
Okay, Byron. Did you see my eyes roll into the back of my head?
I did. I loved it.
Enough?
I loved it. Yeah, that was good.
Went to her second face behind the back of her head.
That was great.
All right.
Exactly.
All right. So nothing there. Biggest losers individuals. Byron, Glenn Kelman of Redfin. It's a pretty good pick. Lisa, NAR leadership, unclear who will take the fall. And myself, Eric Wu of Open Door. I'm taking myself out of the running for the same reason we took Open Door out of the running.
Eric Wu got replaced, so
but he still has ownership stake in the. I think he's.
Yeah.
I think he made out okay getting replaced. I don't think that's the biggest loser. So that's the
And
one I'm taking off the table.
I'm taking myself out of the running as well. I think I was too early in that. I think that they're doing some stuff to try to turn it around. I think their recent, push to we're trying to bring it up, blah, blah, blah. So I take myself out of the running. And
well, nobody took the fall with NAR. That's the point, right? They're still all kind of moving along. They got a new president. They got their big initiatives. It's actually been more of the same from them, unfortunately.
If Glenn Kelman was exited out, he would have failed on his overall mission by basically doing a come rescue me deal with Rocket. And then he wouldn't have been running day-to-day Redfin. But since he's still at the helm running day-to-day, on this list, he maybe
I think he's too. Yeah, I think he's still too early. Interestingly,
Yeah.
so I didn't look at our 2025 predictions when I was doing my 26, and I picked him as my 2026 loser because
Yeah.
I think it's just too early. I think it's coming, but I don't think it's hit yet.
So nobody gets a point there. So that leaves, well, actually, we had a couple of wild card predictions. So Lisa had a
Yes.
question last year on buyer agency commissions. Will they increase or decrease? I said flat, but if I had to pick one, I said I would go down. Tom said flat. So
They went up. So we were both.
I would be wrong. They went up, and I mean, we'd both be kind of wrong.
I should get a point for that one because I've been saying that was going to happen.
Yeah, you were definitely saying increase there.
Yes. Many times documented on the show. That's a point
Oh,
for
absolutely. Lisa's she's been on that since the very beginning. And then mergers and aging brokers. Tom said more mergers due to major problem with aging brokers. And then I said, you'll see a major publicly traded company get acquired. I don't know. Haley,
I love how you
clip?
highlighted that on our notes. I love how you had to highlight that.
We don't need
Haley had to step in here for Bobby, but Haley, go to the clip.
My big wild card is in that same category, that you'll see a major publicly traded company get acquired. And it could be Open Door, like you're saying, Redfin could be in that category. You could see a brokerage in that category.
Dude, you always have to toot your own horn. It's freaking amazing. It's like if there's any opportunity for Byron to squeeze his nose and toot his horn, he does it.
Could I have piped that one down the middle any better? I mean,
yes,
it's just
you could have named the company, so it wasn't perfect.
Exactly.
If you would have named the company, you could have done better.
I mean, actually, Haley, why don't you spend the entire afternoon pulling a prediction of me saying anywhere is going to get bought at some point? Because it's out there. It exists. Okay. What an absolute
not on this
nail
show.
job. All right. So who won here? And then we're moving to 26.
I will give you the point on that one, Byron.
He definitely got a point. But
Yeah.
he could have done better.
So I got a point there. Lisa got a point on the increase here in this bonus round.
I think it's actually even. I think that evened it up.
And I think Byron wins.
1, 2. No, I only have 3 points. Lisa, you have 1, 2, 3, and Tom has 1, 2.
I also have 3.
3.
Wow.
right.
So we all suck.
Well, this is better than my performance last year. I'm all about getting a little better every day. So
everybody gets a trophy. All right, let's move to 2026. This is where it gets fun.
Okay.
All right, so
Do it.
we're going to start with home prices. And what we did here is we took the Realtor.com forecast because Danielle Hale nailed this last year, and we used that to set all the lines. So you can go to Realtor.com/research to check all that out. The first one is home prices. The forecast for Realtor.com is plus 2.2% on existing home sales is the median. So why don't we all go over our predictions? Byron, we'll start with you. Then we'll go to myself, then go to Lisa, because that's how Bobby told me to order it.
Okay, so I went above. I went above on home prices. 2.2% is the over-under set by the Realtor.com forecast. I certainly don't have it much over. 2.5, maybe something like that. But if I got to pick one and I can't go with push, I think this is a deadly accurate kind of projection from Danielle Hale on the team. But if I'm going to lean one direction, I'll go slightly above for the same reason you're seeing delistings at the all-time high. Sellers do not have a gun to their head in this market. And the majority of sellers, or would-be sellers, homeowners, will not have one to their head in 2026 outside of some catastrophic economic meltdown, which, I'm not going to jump into the doomer camp and predict. So I think sellers still ultimately have financial control of what they want to do, which is going to keep prices high. They're going to be very slow to move off their number. You'll see markets like Austin and, the Gulf Coast of Florida that, realistic sellers are going to have to take a haircut in some situations, but this is the macro national number and I've got it over.
All right, I'm going under. and I'm talking like 1/10 of a percentage point under. So I think this is a good prediction. The reason I went under is a lot of the same reasons you went over, Byron. I think there's going to be some of the Sunbelt states that pull this number down a bit, especially with the inventory that's coming up. I mean, you look at our market as an example, the suburban Philadelphia market. We're seeing a 1.5 month supply of homes on the market right now. So I mean that's gonna there's such low supply there. There's not gonna be enough sales to bring it up in some of these markets that are hotter than in the inventory rich markets. So I'm looking at just seeing more sales in areas where the markets are a little softer, and that's going to bring the number down. You mentioned the Gulf of America. You talked about Texas, the Sun Belt states. I think that it's the same reasons. It's just I think we're going to be a tick under that. And I'm trying to think with my brain, not my heart, like I did last year.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
And I went over for a lot of the reasons that you said, Byron. But I also think that even if resale activity is dicey and prices maybe are down a little bit there, and while new construction price per square foot has softened a little bit, what we see across the country is that new construction prices, because of what they build, drive average prices up a little bit. So I think that that's going to get in there. I also think that we're going to start to see people who've waited it out from a life event saying they just can't wait anymore. And I think it's going to increase demand a smidge. So I think of home appreciation, again, like Byron, I don't think it's going to be majorly over, but I think it's going to be even like 0.05 of a point over what they predict could be what we're looking at.
Yeah. These are really tough numbers because of how accurate Danielle Hale and the Realtor.com team were last year. And obviously we talked to her about that last pod. You should go do the replay if you haven't done it. But, knowing how accurate she was and how kind of close these numbers are to what I think a consensus belief is for next year, it makes these over-unders very difficult. Mortgage rates, Tom.
Mortgage rate, 6.3% average and year end. So are we picking the average or are we picking the year end? I think we should probably go with the average here.
Okay.
Is that what we?
Yeah, I made my prediction on our paper based on the average.
Yeah, and I think we're all at the same number here. I'm looking at
we all got the under. So
we all have the under of 6.3. Now, hopefully we're not all leading with our heart, but obviously if the average is under 6.3, then not obviously, but odds are, I guess, that the year end would be also under 6.3. Well,
and even if you look at today, I think we opened this morning with 6.2, right? So that's
6.22 according to Mortgage News Daily.
Yeah, so you've had a little momentum this week, which obviously we're not getting into in this pod, but you had CPI, which was expected by Dow Jones to come in at 3.1%, comes in at 2.7%. You have a lot of, the internet now trying to dump water on that because they have their angle of tear everything down and they want to root against the economy, of course. And they're saying, well, it's because of the shutdown. We don't have accurate data. The CPI's never been accurate. It's government data. It's a freaking joke. I mean, wake up. They're running things off of owner's equivalent rent. The CEO of Blackstone got on CNBC Squawk Box this week and said, we're already at 2% inflation if you had real shelter data, not 2.7. We're already at 2%. And so if that is true, and the opposing view is that you're going to see tariffs bring this number back up. We've been told all year that tariffs are going to destroy this entire country, the economy, the stock market's going to go down to zero. We keep hearing that that's what's going to happen. But so you got two opposing views. Inflation's going to be a little bit hotter next year. The data is showing us that it's moving down, and Blackstone CEO believes it's actually already at 2%. If it's lower than where some of these projections are coming in, and if the new Fed chair really tries to drive rates down, then, I think we could all kind of come in under this 6.3. There's a very strong case to suggest that it's not going to matter what the Fed does, and inflation's not going to get anywhere close to that 2% level. There's a case obviously for all of that. But hey, we're all out on the under, and
Well, you look. Did any of you guys watch the president's speech earlier this week, where he showed what's happened with the price of things like eggs and groceries and stuff like? And they've come in substantially less than where they were. So I mean, it's clear the White House is a priority to bring these down, and I think that they can't obviously set these rates. They're going to make some policy decisions with the new Fed chair that I could influence those. So that was my thought process in getting below 6.3.
You have to be careful discussing inflation with just kind of the average consumer, because the average consumer is like, I remember buying things in 2019 and 2020, and they were a lot less expensive than they are today. Well, yeah, you're never going back to those prices. A new price level has been broken when you printed all that money. And inflation, even at 2%, means prices go up forever and ever. So I hear a lot of the doomers like, you know, everything's so unaffordable. We got to control inflation. We have to control inflation. Is it really the 0.7% that's making things so unaffordable? Or is it that we've broken new price levels and wages haven't caught up yet? Like stop being, just trying to drive clicks by being extreme. Even if inflation goes down to 2%, things are still going to be dramatically unaffordable, because Jerome Powell shoved $2.3 trillion down Congress's throat when COVID was over and when we didn't have to spend that money, and called inflation transitory. Go look it up.
Okay, can we go back to predictions?
Forever.
We're so far
let's go
off
back to predictions.
All right, okay.
Let's go back.
Home sales, Realtor.com forecast is a 1.7% bump to 4.13 million. Byron, now, so you either got to pick the push or the under.
I'll go under.
Pick both here. Okay, so you're going with the under. So we're going to adjust the sheet here, make sure this is accurately.
I think this is such a on the money forecast, but I'll go slightly under the 4.13 million.
Okay, Lisa, you're going over. I
am slightly over. Not a lot at all, but slightly over.
I'm also over. And the reason I'm going with the over here is it's twofold. One, if rates are coming in below 6.3%, that can spur some people to unlock. Right now, 20% of the outstanding mortgages in the country have a 6% or higher rate. And the average mortgage rate's 4.4%. So there's if we get into a little bit under 6.3, I think that's going to spur some demand. And it's not going to be that, Byron, you said this many times. It's not like some market where the market's going to go up and your business is going to go up as a real estate agent. There's going to be a slight breeze, kind of like you're sitting on the Gulf Coast of Florida, that will lift this up. So that's my thought process there. And I'm trying to use, again, logic here based on my other predictions.
Yeah, the market's so slow where the majority of the inventory is that I don't want to get burned like I did last year. I'm hopeful that it'll be over, but I'm going with the under.
Danielle Hale said the same thing when she set these lines last week, or set these predictions, that she hopes she's wrong. All right, number of real estate agents. NAR. So right now, this is very interesting because NARs right now, where's this? They had the stat. Bobby put it right in here that they're sitting at a 1.45 million membership body. I mean, there's some additional numbers there. I'm rounding it. Their expectation is they go to 1.2 million.
And this is what they're saying. So that's
what they're saying.
We're expected to lose.
So go ahead, Byron.
I mean, I'm going under. I mean, if they're telling us that they're expecting and projecting to go to 1.2 and they've been wrong so often, I mean, if they're saying that, I think they're going to be conservative in their projection, or even lean towards best case scenario, because they have just shown us a history of being intellectually dishonest with their members. So it's just based on that, I'm going under.
I like it.
I think it's worse. I think it's worse than they're sharing.
See, I'm going over for the same reasons. I think they're intentionally giving you a low projection so when they beat it, they can high-five themselves and say, hey, we're a great trade organization.
Reverse psychology.
Well, and you're in a renewal period this year coming out, at least in Pennsylvania. I don't know. Are you guys at renewal periods in 2026?
What do you mean a renewal period?
Like
ours comes up ours is, you renew on your birthday every other year.
Oh, ours is every 2 years. And it's, so that doesn't, I didn't know I only have a license in one state. So I think they're doing the same thing though, because I mean that's an awfully big drop off, and we know how many agents keep their license and do absolutely nothing, and they're counting those numbers. So I think they're doing it so it looks better, so they can all keep their jobs and keep getting these ridiculous salaries. That's my same reasons, just different prediction, Byron.
Yeah, I also think it depends on how many new agents come into the industry. Brian Baero, who's the CEO of 1000 Watt, was on a panel. Do you remember this? Oh no, Lisa, I think you weren't there either.
Wasn't there.
Zillow. He was on a panel, and he's like, over the next 5 years, I think we're gonna be like well over 2 million agents. He believes there's going to be a gold rush of agents coming in based on where jobs and AI and stuff is going. It's like a really interesting angle he has. We're going to have him on the pod to break that down. I don't think AI is going to be as disruptive in 2026 in terms of jobs as some believe. And the market might not be frothy enough for a lot of new agents, but there's going to be new agents. I like your angle, Tom.
Mine is slightly different. Well, so I think that there's going to be more realtors than 1.2 million, but my belief is different for the reason from Tom. I think they were likely banking on the fact that they've changed their national bylaws or whatever they call it, stating that they're pushing it to the MLSs to decide whether you need to be a member of NAR in order to get access to the MLS. I don't think MLSs are going to change the stance.
That's a good point.
Hell no, they're absolutely not.
And I think they're banking on some of that. I think that they're assuming that potentially some MLSs are actually going to implement that, and I just don't see it happening. And even if it does, I don't see it happening for 2026. So, I mean, you'd be talking about what, like a 20% decline, right? Like a 20% decline is substantial. It's not like we're talking like if the number was looking at like a 10% decline, then I might give it a little bit more thought. But a 20% decline is something major would have to happen. And I don't see that major thing happening in because remember, everybody's deciding right now. You're renewing your NAR dues right now. Like nothing catastrophic has happened to change, and nothing's going to happen by mid-year.
That's a great point. MLSs and brokerages are slow. And so while NAR's made the decision, we're going to remove liability from ourselves.
Correct.
Broker's decision and the MLS decision is very slow to catch up. And so that's a great point.
Yeah, it's not going to have the impact for 26. 27 maybe, but not 26.
And that's kind of where we all were last year. I was certainly in that camp where everyone's like, these numbers are going to drop so fast. And it's like, it's going to move a lot slower than you think.
Yep.
And so I'll just take the opposite approach, try to win a point based on NAR saying they're going to go down that far. If it gets to 1.19, I come out.
That's a strategy
here. Yeah,
it sure is. Okay.
All right. Best real estate stocks to own. So Byron.
So
cannabis
I'm going
REITs.
with cannabis real estate specific REITs. And I know that's a little bit more of a category. I'm not an expert on these REITs, but I'm just going to go with cannabis real estate related REITs, which there are a number of them out there. Reason being, if you just saw what happened this past week, President Trump signed an executive order to legalize, basically reclassify cannabis. Okay. Now, if you know anybody in your state that holds the state license, if your state is already doing legalized marijuana for recreational use, these investors and these owners are just waiting for the day that this happens. They're like, everything is going to go shooting up. Stocks are going to go shooting up if this happens. There's already been in the states that operate both recreationally and medicinal. There's already been a number of real estate transactions. So you've got dispensaries and leases for those dispensaries. But you also have the buildings that they produce the like the oils and all the different things that they make.
Well,
And then you have fields for outgrown. So you have 3 different, real estate transactions that are happening with these companies and these license holders. And so
which one are you picking though? You can't pick a category. You have to pick one. Which one are you picking?
I mean, I don't know, because there's like 2 or 3 leaders out there. I would say,
but you have to pick one so that at the end of the year we
no,
can
I'm going to pick
pull up.
cannabis REITs, cannabis.
No,
real
you
estate
can't.
related REITs.
That's a category. You cannot. We have to be able to put in the ticker, look at the start, look at the end to determine who wins. This is not it. The question was not best real estate stock category. The question was best real estate stock. I picked.
Can you imagine
stock.
negotiating with Lisa when someone doesn't know the agreement of sale?
Yeah, I would tell her you're not getting a deal, and I wouldn't.
No. I'm saying when they're under contract and they probably pulling some nonsense and they don't know what the contract says.
So I'm going to go with IIPR as the ticker,
Okay.
Innovative Industrial Properties.
All right.
Perfect. All right. What you got, Tom?
So I am going with
I also
American
like Chicago Atlantic Refi just as my honorable mention there.
Honorable mention.
Fine.
Okay. Doesn't count. All right. So I'm going with American Tower. So American Tower is it's a pretty interesting stock where they they own and they lease cell phone towers and develops and operates wireless and broadcast communication infrastructures. It's unfortunately headquartered in Massachusetts, but besides that, it's looking at this stock, I think its forecasts are it's going to be like up 29% next year. I think that would be a good winner if that's where it goes. There is some pending litigation where people are kind of concerned about some of their users, but I like it. I think we're only going to see more data get exchanged on these on these stocks, and so I think American Tower Corporation is my pick for the year. And a lot of people are kind of agreeing with it. I mean, I did some research before I pulled this up. I didn't even know this existed until the show. So there you go.
Do you have a runner-up, Tom? Just
no.
to keep you.
I make one. I make one pick and stand by it. I stake my claim, Lisa.
I have the entire sector, so that's.
I'm picking all stocks traded on NASDAQ. And then
this is where we're going. All right. So I actually picked Prologis for distribution. I think e-commerce is just going to continue to grow. And, it's a diversified REIT that isn't just national, it's global. I did have a runner-up that I will share that neither of you kind of keyed in on. My runner-up was actually Welltower. And I think that that's one to look at. And I'm thinking it's a little early, but they do facilities for healthcare for the aging, and they build the facilities where, think
big aging population right now. Yeah, that's
right. Which is why I think I'm maybe a year or two early for where that one will start to shake out. But I think it's definitely one to watch, as I don't know that the age in place thing that kind of shook out during 2020 is going to continue for too much longer. So I think Welltower could be really, really well positioned in the coming years.
Yeah, it's a good long term.
I'll pick that in 2026. So I've got fives on that one next year. All right.
And just a disclaimer, this is not financial advice, so we're not telling any of you to go and buy these stocks at all.
No, please don't. All right. Biggest winners companies. Byron, I'll let you lead off here, and then we'll go to myself and Lisa. We'll just keep it in order.
So this might be a surprising pick. I'm going Rocket Companies. And I might be a year early on this one, probably am. But if there is any loosening up of the, if we're all right on our 30-year fixed rate coming in under 6.3, well, then Rocket Companies is well positioned. They're either always number 2 or number 1 in the country on mortgages. They compete with UWM for that spot. And what is everybody so desperately trying to get great at all of a sudden? It's being a mortgage company. Okay. Rocket already is substantially well ahead of any of the competition when it comes to mortgage companies. And they just bought a distribution channel. And if they're smart with Redfin and they turn it into what I've always said it is, a parts company, and get rid of the kind of the biased ideologies that exist within that company that don't do consumers any favors and use it as a distribution channel to increase opportunities for Rocket, I think they can. I think they have a huge chance here to do what Zillow's trying to catch up and do. They already have it. They already have not the same level of distribution as Zillow, but they already have now distribution channels, which they were great at distributing leads to their LOs to begin with. Now, I'm not saying that, I love Rocket Loans. Okay. I'm not making that claim. I just think they're well positioned to capitalize on what a lot of these companies are now trying to build, which is the ancillary. They have distribution. They have the mortgage product. They're really good at it, and they have a head start. And so this could be a really good year for them if the rates do come in a little bit under where the average projection is.
All right. So Byron's got an interesting pick there. I'm going with Anywhere. And the reason I like Anywhere is I think it was a good deal for them to sell. I mean, if you look at some of the challenges they were facing this year, whether it's, you obviously had the commission lawsuit, they oversee Coldwell Banker, Century 21. They had a substantial debt load. There was a lot of legal pressure from the lawsuits. They weren't doing a great job keeping up with tech innovation. Obviously, this is all going to depend on the sale closing for them, number one, and what happens afterwards, and if there's any attrition from the agents or not. I don't think they were in a good direction. So sometimes the best thing to do is cash out and, hitch your wagon to a company that's going up. So I like that move for them. I know it's an all stock transaction and all that, but I don't think it was going to go any better for them staying on their own. So I think that's going to be a good move for the company long term to close that deal. It's supposed to be middle of this year, coming up in 26.
Before Lisa picks hers, I'll just give you a little bit of news from this week regarding that deal. Lawmakers, 2 Democrat senators are calling on the DOJ and the FTC to closely scrutinize the $1.6 billion merger to make sure that it doesn't violate antitrust law on this Compass Anywhere acquisition. This is, of course, Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts. She thinks everything's
right, Lisa.
She's
coming over for Christmas Eve dinner at the Chinatti house.
I mean, she would think trees in the forest are a monopoly. Ron Wyden of Oregon is also this is maybe one of the dumbest claims as it relates to real estate that 2 senators could make. Now, however you feel about Compass Anywhere deal, this being called a monopoly is so ridiculously such a stretch. Whether you want the deal to happen, to say that they're going to now have a monopoly by buying up those brands over the industry, I think is a really far stretch. And I don't think that the DOJ and the FTC are going to spend much time considering these requests at all. And I don't see how this deal doesn't happen.
All right.
What do you got, Lisa?
I picked CBRE, which was a little bit of a different direction. So for those who don't know, CBRE is the largest commercial real estate services firm in the world. And so not sales and transactionals necessarily, but services. They do handle brokerage, but they also do property management, valuation, and investment management. And so I think if we start to see movement really start to open up, right? Like you're looking at multifamilies, industrial, commercial. Obviously, when those things increase, the need for services increases. And so it's diversified. So again, because it does industrial, office, multifamily, retail, corporate services, and everything, it's very, very diversified. And I don't think that we're going to see every segment of the market be flat. I do think that we're, in a prime position to see some stuff go up, potentially even really office space. I know a lot of companies are starting their back to work initiatives pretty hardcore. And I think that that's going to continue through. I think the COVID work from home era is ending.
And they would have been a good stock to own this year, up 23+%. I mean, I know we're not talking
Correct.
stocks here, but
Yep.
Lisa, you're riding a little bit of the continuing momentum that CBRE has. So,
Yep.
yep.
So that's my pick.
I think mine is probably the biggest kind of underdog of the three.
It's boom or bust, Byron.
Yeah, it's boom or bust with Rocket.
All right, individual winners.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
All right.
It's already 11:09. Individual
sorry,
winners.
Tom. Sorry, Tom. You got somewhere
I
to
have
be?
business to run. Yes, I do have places to be. Actually, I have someone
All right.
waiting for me.
I've got
Told him I had
Robert
to
Rev.
wait.
I've got Robert Revkin, CEO of Compass. Now I have different viewpoints on some of his viewpoints, but whether this merger happens, this acquisition happens or not, which I think it will.
I agree.
He will have kind of accomplished this year what he set out to do. It's like, hey, we are going to be at the table of rewriting the rules in real estate. He's not shying. The Zillow lawsuit gives him so much positive PR in the minds of the agents. The agents that are at Compass are in love with him and are in love with that culture. And so he's brought the stock from the dead up 80% this year. If he gets this merger, he is going to have a lot more ammunition to kind of recreate how this industry operates. And again, I disagree with some of the angles that he has, but he has been very much taking on every giant, and that's just going to get him a lot of brownie points with a lot of people. And again, if the acquisition happens, he'll have a lot of hard work on his plate, but he's proven over the last couple of years he's not afraid of hard work. And so I got Revkin, I guess.
All right, Tommy.
So I went with Leo Pereira from EXP for similar reasons. He's done a nice job with the standard forms and disclosure. I really like that, and it shows some leadership that he's trying to help other people besides in his company. And so I think that's a big win. He's taken EXP from not having a lot of momentum. You mentioned some of the lawsuits they had and really stepping in for Glenn Sanford. And I've seen a noticeable difference in the momentum where they're pulling in agents that maybe they would have lost to other companies in the past. And he's also taking on Robert Redfkin and Compass. So, someone had to emerge here. It would have been great if it was NAR. We'll get to that in a second, but it wasn't. So he's taking the opposite viewpoint. And I don't agree with everything either one of those guys do. Why I like Leo is that I think he's looking out for the industry. He's trying to help people with the open sourced forms. I think I mentioned on the show previously, we've been using a referral disclosure for a while at our company, talked about the referral fee disclosure, and I emailed our local board, and they said, well, I'm like, why did NAR vote this down? Have you thought about this? And our local board's actually agreeing with his point of view. And that's it. So a lot of reasons there. I like Leo. I think he's been pretty smart in what he's saying. He's taking a stance, unlike some of these people that are just playing it right down the middle. So I like that for a lot of reasons. Don't necessarily like the company and everything they do. I like what he's doing as a leader.
Okay. And I went for a different kind of win. I'm picking Danielle Hale, the chief economist for Realtor.com. And why I'm giving her a pick is because I believe that economists are shaping a lot more of the narratives. She's gotten huge media amplification over the past year. And I think it's only going to get greater as we head into 2026, knowing the initiatives of Damien and the entire Realtor.com team. And if we're all honest, all three of us, media amplification creates influence. And I also think that it takes a lot to be boring, and not in the wrong way, but her prediction is boring, and it takes a lot of guts to come out with a boring, moderate prediction and stand by it. And let's be real, she was spot on for 25.
She was spot on for 25, which means for you to be in the running for this category, she's going to build brand, and Realtor.com is doing such a great job on, being a source of information, no question. but
Mhm.
she's going to have to go back-to-back years of nailing predictions, or it's just going to be hard to say that she could be the biggest winner. She's going to have to nail predictions again this year.
Yes, but even
She won't
if
be a loser if she doesn't, but to be clear.
correct. But I also think, when you look at it, like Leo and Refkin have influence, but they've already
Tom's
you two
being
are
a
ridiculous.
fool. He's
I know.
I heard what Byron said. She's not going to be a loser.
to be clear.
Of course, she's not a loser. You didn't even say that.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's a safe pick for Lisa because she has no chance of,
I don't think
like
it's
we're
a
going to get
safe
to our
pick.
biggest loser category here, but
I disagree about it being a safe pick.
it's a
I
safe
think
pick.
it's
She's highly
If she gets the
professional,
predictions wrong,
exceptional.
yeah. But I think it's all about predictions. I think that's because
I don't think it's just about the predictions. I think that that's a big part of it. But I think you have to look at, like, she's making a name for herself in the industry, and I think has the real potential to grow her influence by the largest margin in 2026.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
All right, biggest loser companies. Let's keep this moving here. Byron, you're up
Open
first.
door. This retail momentum is already starting to crack, and I think it's going to come falling down here in 2026, and they're going to be back to where they were prior. I don't think that there's enough. I mean, the one approach that they should really do is focus in on those high inventory markets. But I just don't think there's enough of a demand for what they offer, and there's not enough of a save. There's really no savings. In fact, it comes at a higher cost, and sellers leave money on the table the way they've structured their deals historically. I know they have recently tried to rip off Zudilio's product, but yeah, I don't think the retail is going to stick around. It doesn't have the cult-like energy that it did at the beginning, and you're just going to see that money kind of leave and go other places.
All right, Tom.
Got it. So I was on the fence about two here. I'll give you the one I did not pick. I'm going with Real Brokerage. I'm going to get some hate for this one because I don't think you do better without Sharon Srivatsa sitting in the driver's seat as a company, and with looking at some of the defections, because it's a cloud-based model, right? So you've seen some large producers from Real move to EXP, and that also lines up with the reason why I selected Leo as my winner for 2026, because I think he's taken that influence away. And, Sharon was such a dynamic individual, and, I don't know the people in Real. I think they're, he's on the board there, but he's not running the show like he was. I don't think you recover from that. And that was such a good move for them when they brought him in. I don't know why they wouldn't have tried to make that work longer, because leadership can be dynamic here. And I think, Byron, you put the stat out that with downlines and those sort of compensation plans, I think it's only 10% of the people actually collect money on those. So without that type of leadership from Sharon and seeing what Leo's doing at a high level, you may see more people flock to the other. I mean, there's basically like two of them that are competing, right?
Well, LPT is
LPT. We've got an LPT brokerage here. Yeah.
LPT is claiming that they're experiencing faster growth even than when Real Brokerage was growing as fast, and they're going to be going public at some point this year, which gives them even more momentum because people will feel like they're getting in early. Now, to be fair, EXPI and REAX, which is Real stock, neither of those are phenomenal stocks to own. But LPT, if you get in early, like you did on those two stocks, if you got in early, you could really do well. But anyway, we'll have to see what happens.
There's going to be a leadership void at the company, and we've seen what happens with companies when they don't have great leaders. So I mean, losing Sharon is not like a good thing for anybody. So I think that's really the driver here. The company I almost picked was Byron's biggest winner, which was Rocket Companies, because of the competition.
We've
got Google. Notes. And we've got Google coming in and doing some display ads. Obviously, Zillow. You have CoStar and Homes.com. So it's going to go either way for Rocket this year. I think it's going to go up, and they could take a lot of market share, or it could go the other direction. And So I mean but that's not the one I'm going with. I'm going with Real.
So I picked Redfin. So tie in there, right? For a lot of the same reasons. I think traditional agents, what we're seeing is with the change with how buyer agency works, traditional agents are improving their value. Teams across the board have far better conversion. And so I think in a market that's really starting to reward productivity and profitability, I think any discount brokerage model is going to be in trouble because they have so little room for error. And that error can be market, it can be an internal thing. And I think Redfin in particular is, I don't think they have an identity. They're not a portal like Zillow. They're not a brokerage like Compass, and they're not a service heavy giant like CBRE. So I don't know. They have to pick, right? They're sitting in this no man's land of what they are and what their identity is. And so I just don't see them being able to really turn it into a hugely profitable business. And so I pick Redfin.
Okay. Go to biggest loser individuals.
Yeah, individuals.
Now,
Byron,
we don't think these people are. They're probably good people, good family people. This is from a business perspective.
We don't know any of them personally. So this is not any judgment on someone's personal characteristics.
All right. Neither of you two are getting sued. So stop with the disclaimers. Well, I've met one carry of the three
in person. But anyways, I'm going with Kaz Nazatian, who is the new CEO of Open Door, kind of matching my biggest loser company pick. This is an executive who left Shopify and signed a contract with Open Door that really he only gets paid if there's exponential growth. I don't believe that exponential growth is going to happen. So I think that was a dumb decision in what appears to be a really brilliant career from this executive. And, you know, some of the reasons that he put out there of why he wanted to take the job at Open Door is kind of some of the same reasons we hear from a lot of these executives that have no attachment to real estate, have no idea what they're even entering. It's like, oh, my mom was an agent, or I bought a house once. It's like just really dumb, basic reasons why he wants to come in and shape home ownership. And so, you know, for those reasons, I think this is going to be a huge failure. Open Door's a crappy company, now led by an executive who just doesn't get it and should have stayed at Shopify, and led by an insane board as well.
I'm going with Nikea Wright, and the reasons for that are many. If you look at their 2020 pro forma 990, that Byron, I think it's like your favorite day of the year when that gets released and you crap all over it.
Yes.
So she made $2.492 million in reportable compensation, another $57,000 in additional compensation.
I mean, she's a winner because of that.
Well, she's winning personally. I'm talking about in the real estate industry. The Havas Media Group, again, got paid $42 million in change for garbage dog shit advertising. They rolled out this strategic plan that has 75 projects. We know as business operators, you know what the magic number for projects is, Lisa? 3. You do 3 at a time, not 75. And it seems like all we're getting from NAR is more of the same. You know, she was touted as someone that was going to come in, clean things up. And, you know, all we see from NAR is more of the same. Their leadership position has just dropped down, and they continue to spend money on things that aren't there. Byron, you've talked about how she doesn't go on podcasts. She has curated interviews, and there's really no leadership there. So, I mean, she's winning in her bank account. She's costing the industry. I don't see any change happening here. This is all just another bunch of BS from NAR, and they keep shoveling the same stuff over and over. Their strategic plan sucks, and big L for the year for Nikea Wright.
Okay. And I picked Glenn Kelman because it's a natural tie-in, kind of like Byron's running the company, Redfin. So I'm going to save everybody the time of listening to another speech. That's my pick.
Yeah. If they turn that into a parts company and he gets exited out, you could just kind of lock that one up right there.
Yep. Okie dokie.
And any wild card predictions here? I have one. I'll let you guys talk for a second. Let me get ready for this.
Get ready for what? What are we getting ready for?
It's going to be a good one. Oh my gosh, I can see it brewing in the corner of our screen.
I don't have any wild card predictions now. I mean, I guess if I was gonna predict on the
number of
wow,
Byron Lazine Grinch meltdowns in 2026. Over
never
under
had one of those.
1.5, Lisa. What do you think? Are you taking the over or are you taking the
Oh
under?
God, that's it. So easy. That's freaking over.
Over 1.5. I also will take the over at 1.5. So we'll see if Byron has.
I'll take the under on that.
That you're not going to melt down?
Yeah. I'll take the under of 1.5 meltdowns.
Okay.
And you need to define a meltdown.
The vein bulges in your head. Yeah.
That's all we got.
Yeah. And then maybe next week we'll address the comments of everybody thinking Lisa hates me.
That I hate you?
I don't think there's anyone that hates anybody here.
Everybody
they think I hate you somehow, or that
they know I worship you and you shit on me sometimes. But I worship you, BL.
Or whatever. I don't know what they think. They're just not thinking. That's what I do know. Listen, if all of us agreed on everything throughout this pod, it'd be pretty boring.
Actually, next week we're gonna have a pretty good debate. We kind of shaped it up before the pod started, and I'm excited for next week's debate.
Well, next week we won't have a pod, but the week we come back, obviously for the next
January
week,
2nd,
the day after Christmas. But the
all
week
right, Tom,
after,
take it off. We can't even hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear you. But the week after, January 2nd's pod, me and Lisa are just preparing you, going to have a real debate.
It's going to be spicy.
It'll be spicy. And I think that's what makes this pod great. We're all great friends. We agree on a lot of stuff. We do see a lot of things the same way, obviously. I think when we have differences of opinion on this pod throughout the year, that can create important conversations for all of the listeners and for the industry overall. Really appreciate everybody who took time to listen to the pod
100%.
Throughout 2025. If you are on YouTube, really appreciate you. Subscribe, do us a holiday favor and subscribe to the pod on YouTube. If you listen to Spotify or Apple, would love for you to leave a review. Give us your honest feedback there. I love when people give me the honest feedback in the YouTube comments. I'm obviously joking around about that. Continue to open that conversation. Trust me, I'll never be offended by anything. I love both these guys, Tom and Lisa, and I love doing this show with you guys. And I love the guests that we've had on, and look forward to having great guests in 2026 as well.
I can't believe this is the end of another year of the pod.
It is. I think we've been doing it for 3 years.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
Well, me and Tom started it without you, and then
then
you got gelled up, and we said, yeah.
I know.
It was actually Byron's idea to bring you on. I remember how this went down. He called me and said, "Do you want to do this?" And then he said, "We need to add Lisa." So that's how it went down.
You guys hear that? It was my idea to bring our good friend Lisa onto the pod.
This is amazing. All right.
Love you guys.
Happy holidays, everybody. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
You've got a CRM for leads. Great. Don't want that to go away. But what about your clients? Most agents drop the ball after the deal. That's why they're called past clients. There's real money is in the referrals, the repeat business, staying top of mind for a year, making past clients actual clients. If your follow-up is just random check-in or a happy home anniversary, you're invisible. That's why my team uses Mosaic, and that's why the Mosaic team just made it available to all BAMX members at no additional monthly cost. Mosaic is a high-touch client experience platform. It picks up where your CRM leaves off, personalized property search, offer comparisons, real-time transaction timelines, automated homeowner reminders, equity updates long after the closing. This means your clients feel supported with you without duct taping 5 different systems together. And here's what makes this deal insane. Mosaic is normally $150 to $250 a month, but BAMX members, you get full access included in your $97 a month membership. If you're doing the math, that's like us paying you $150 every month just to stay ahead of your clients, just to keep your clients. Spots are limited by market for Mosaic. Some are already full. So if you're in a competitive area, go claim your seat now. Go to school.com/BAMX
or hit the link.